The 1970s began with the roar of engines echoing down American highways and metallic paint glinting under the desert sun. It was a time when driving meant freedom, power, and a good dose of national pride. But that glamour wouldn't last long. The decade that started with confidence ended in a mix of uncertainty and forced creativity. The once dominant American automotive industry found itself trapped between soaring oil prices and the need to reinvent everything it knew about cars. The 1973 oil crisis wasn't just an economic issue, it was a cultural shock. Cars stopped being symbols of status and became calculators of fuel efficiency. The rumble of V8s gave way to the whisper of compact engines, and bold designs were replaced by more restrained, almost timid lines. America had to learn that too much power could come at too high a price. But it's precisely in that tension that the beauty of the 1970s lies, an era when scarcity gave birth to imagination. Amid bumper collisions and fuel rationing, ideas were born that would shape the future of mobility. Today, looking back at the cars of that decade feels like revisiting a human transition, the moment when excess gave way to adaptation, and the automotive industry discovered that creativity was a matter of survival. The end of the era of giants. In the early 1970s, American highways were ruled by true metal colossi. The Dodge Charger, the Pontiac GTO, the Ford Mustang, all competed not just for speed, but for who could roar the loudest. Every acceleration was a declaration of freedom, and fuel consumption seemed like a trivial detail. After all, a gallon of gas cost less than a bottle of soda. Dealerships overflowed with confidence, displaying cars that looked more like tanks than means of transportation. It was the golden age of the muscle cars, machines that reflected the optimism and strength of an America that believed the future was limitless. But while the engines purred, the world was quietly changing. When oil prices began to rise, that illusion of abundance vanished like smoke from an exhaust pipe. Suddenly, those chrome giants became a burden. Keeping a V8 engine running turned into a luxury, and the ultimate symbol of freedom became synonymous with waste. Many owners were forced to sell their beloved cars, trading horsepower for miles per gallon. Still, the end of that era didn't erase its brilliance. It left a deep mark, a reminder of a time when the sound of an engine was the anthem of youth and the smell of gasoline, the perfume of the open road. And ironically, it was the fall of those giants that paved the way for the next revolution on American streets. The 1973 oil crisis. In 1973, America realized that even the most powerful engines could come to a halt when faced with a barrel that cost too much. The OPEC embargo sent gasoline prices skyrocketing, and suddenly, lines at gas stations became part of the landscape. The nation that took pride in its endless highways had to face scarcity for the first time. The mighty V8s, once symbols of freedom, became a burden on the wallet. Ration fuel changed habits. The foot grew lighter, engines quieter, and drivers more cautious. It was the end of the age of abundance and the beginning of a forced awareness about consumption and efficiency. American automakers, long accustomed to luxury and excess, tried to adapt, but the transition was painful. That vibrant roar from the exhaust was replaced by smaller engines, lighter cars, and less confident faces in the dealerships. The 1973 crisis didn't just drain fuel tanks. It drained the illusion that progress was infinite. The invasion of the compacts. While Detroit was still trying to figure out what had happened, the rest of the world was already on the roads with smaller tanks. Across the Pacific, the Japanese arrived smiling, with cars that looked like toys next to the American ones, but that offered something no one else did: efficiency. The Toyota Corolla, Datsun 510, and Honda Civic proved that it was possible to go far while spending little. Meanwhile, Europeans joined the offensive with their Volkswagen Rabbit and Fiat 128. At first, many turned up their noses. Imported cars were seen as fragile, too small for American tastes. But one winter of long gas station lines was enough to change public opinion. The charm of muscle cars began to feel like a burden, and the appeal of compacts, practical, lightweight, and economical, became irresistible. The invasion of the compacts was not just commercial, it was cultural. It marked the arrival of new ideas about what a car should be. The aesthetics of power gave way to the philosophy of functionality. It was the birth of a new generation of drivers, less concerned with the roar of the engine and more with how far they could go before stopping at the next gas station. And without realizing it, America began driving toward a more restrained, but also more intelligent future. Design and transition. The 1970s were also a decade of visual experimentation. The exuberant curves and chrome shine of the 1960s began to fade, replaced by straight lines, sturdier edges, and a more restrained look. Beauty gave way to practicality, and design now had to follow new rules, not only of taste but also of safety and efficiency. With new regulations, bumpers became wider, headlights more discreet, and grills lost some of the aggressive charm that had defined the previous generation. Suddenly, cars looked like they were wearing gray suits after years of leather jackets. The vibrant colors of past decades gave way to shades of brown, beige, and olive green, a reflection of a more sober and economical era. Even so, the transition brought its own elegance. The Ford Granada, Chevrolet Nova, and AMC Pacer sought a balance between tradition and the need to adapt. It was designed trying to survive the crisis, transforming luxury into simplicity and excess into discretion. Even without the shine of earlier years, these cars captured the spirit of an America under reconstruction, more cautious, yet still proud to keep moving forward. Creativity under pressure. With tight wallets and expensive gasoline, the automotive industry had to learn to innovate with what was left. It was a period of bold experiments, some brilliant, others not so much. Smaller engines began to take the spotlight, and the pursuit of efficiency opened the door for innovations like turbochargers, electronic fuel injection, and even rotary engines. Necessity became the mother of invention. While engineers worked to do more with less, automakers tested ideas that sounded almost futuristic. Experimental electric cars, early hybrids, and new lightweight materials began to emerge, long before they became trends. Even projects that failed, like the AMC Gremlin or the Chevrolet Vega, left valuable lessons about adaptation and survival. The creativity of the 1970s was driven by scarcity, but also by the stubbornness of a people who refused to give up the joy of driving. The open roads were still there, waiting to be traveled. And if cars had to change, so be it, as long as the spirit of freedom remained under the hood. The nostalgia that survived. Decades later, cars from the 1970s still stir something hard to explain. They might not have the gleaming charm of the 60s models or the refined technology of the 80s, but they carry a soul born from chaos. They are memories of a time when fear of the future mingled with hope that the world could be rebuilt through ingenuity and stubbornness. Today, many of those models, even the most modest ones, have become objects of devotion. A restored Plymouth Duster, a gleaming Ford Pinto, a carefully polished AMC Pacer. Each hold stories of families, trips, and change. They represent an America that, despite its struggles, never lost the will to move forward. More than machines, these cars are time capsules. They tell stories of resilience and adaptation, reminding us that beauty can emerge even in times of crisis. And when an old engine roars back to life after years of silence, it's not just metal awakening. It's an entire part of America's collective memory rolling once again down the highways of nostalgia. The 1970s proved that even the roar of engines can be silenced by crisis, but they also showed that American ingenuity never idles. When fuel ran low, creativity took the wheel, and it steered one of the most remarkable transformations in automotive history. Power gave way to efficiency, luxury turned into simplicity, and design began to reflect a new awareness. Every car from that decade bears both the scar and the shine of its time, a reminder that even through the toughest turns, reinvention is always possible. The roads may have changed, but the spirit of those who drove them remains the same, stubborn, dream-driven, and fueled by the will to keep going. On the asphalt and in our memories, the 70s keep on speeding ahead, reminding us that crises fade, but the passion for driving never falls behind. If you enjoyed this trip through the past, give the video a like and subscribe to the channel. It really helps me keep bringing you more stories like this. And tell me in the comments, which of these cars did your parents or grandparents own? I'm sure there are plenty of great stories waiting to be remembered.